Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be tracking that crippling ice storm across the southern plains and mid Mississippi Valley through today, all the way through late week through Thursday morning. And then we're going to be talking about an extreme cold blast, especially for the Northeast United States into this weekend, followed by the weather pattern through the middle of February. Will there be cold? Will there be snow? I'll answer all those questions later on in this video. Waking up this morning very cold across the northern plains and upper Midwest and much of southern Canada. We're waking up to below zero low temperatures this morning into Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern portions of Illinois, back into Iowa here, the Dakotas, and Nebraska this morning. A lot of these areas are single digits to even teens below zero for the air temperature, and wind chills down to 25 to near 30 degrees below zero, not only for the northern United States, but also southern and southeastern Canada this morning. So definitely bundle up as you head outdoors for work or school here today. High temperatures will be rebounding above zero for most of us across the northern United States into the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, but not by much. We're seeing single digits to near 10 degrees or so for high temperatures up here this afternoon. That freezing line much farther south, and we'll be setting up the potential for icing across the southern plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley and parts of the Ohio Valley through the day today. We got an extensive area of winter alerts here. We have winter weather advisories in the purples extending up into Kentucky, West Virginia, southern Ohio, southern Indiana. We got ice storm warnings across central and eastern Arkansas into western Tennessee and far northwestern Mississippi, and then winter storm warnings here up toward the foothills of Missouri, southern Illinois there, and then down into much of south central Texas, getting into north Texas and southeastern Oklahoma here today. And all of these alerts are mainly for icing with some snow on the northern side, but yes, mainly icing through the next couple of days. If you guys are new to the channel and have not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Hit the like button. It's that thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to get all of this weather information out to more and more people. We just hit over 20,000 subscribers last night. So thanks to all the new subscribers out there. So again, hit the subscribe button down below and the like button. It's that thumbs up button, and it helps to get all of this weather information out to more and more people. Looking at the winter precipitation and why we see freezing rain, you have the snow falling out of the base of the cloud, but you have that extensive layer of warmer air aloft above 32 degrees Fahrenheit across the mid and low levels of the atmosphere. And once that hits that environment in the mid and low levels, you see the snowflakes melting to raindrops and falling as rain, but it does refreeze on contact with bridges, overpasses, your car windshields out there, any steps, stairs, sidewalks, driveways. A lot of those things will be icy with that rain refreezing on contact because the temperatures at the surface are at or below freezing. We are seeing that through the noon time frame here today across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on up north and east into eastern Oklahoma, western portions of Arkansas near the Fort Smith area, back as far west as Oklahoma City and Dallas-Fort Worth. Do watch out for that around noon time frame today. That'll extend farther east northeastward toward Memphis, Tennessee, getting into Arkansas here, portions of Little Rock, and then on up there into western portions of Kentucky through this evening. Even a little trail of some freezing drizzle, light freezing rain into south central Texas toward San Antonio and just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex getting into this evening around 6 o'clock. And then another major surge in moisture will move up after midnight into Wednesday morning around 3 a.m., and that will move into portions of the I-20 corridor in East Texas, west of Tyler, Texas, and toward the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, back toward Lubbock, Texas, Midland, San Antonio. A lot of these areas will be seeing some light to moderate freezing rain after midnight. That will be spreading up through much of northwest Texas toward the Red River here into southern Oklahoma, getting into the noon time frame on Wednesday. Maybe some light snowflakes mixing into the Texas Panhandle into southeastern New Mexico through the noon time frame, but this will primarily be sleet, if not all freezing rain, going through the entirety of the morning on Wednesday, and that continues. Look at how widespread this is across Oklahoma, getting into north central Texas, into western portions in central Arkansas through 9 o'clock Wednesday evening. And a lot of this will be uninterrupted through much of the day on Wednesday with light freezing rain across much of Oklahoma and north Texas. We will be adding up a lot of ice accumulation over the next few days. This is additional ice accumulation now through Friday morning. This is what we've already on top of what we've already seen, and you can see, zooming it in here, an additional half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice is doable down here into south central and north central Texas, getting into southeastern Oklahoma, and then another swath of about half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice on top of what we've already seen up into portions of Arkansas, getting in towards Memphis, Tennessee, western Tennessee here into western Kentucky through that time frame, and that even extends up with 1/10 of an inch to up to 1/4 of an inch of ice, getting up into places here like Nashville, Lexington, Kentucky, and then into portions of West Virginia, going through that mid to late week time frame. That will be causing lots of travel impacts. So we have the minor, if not moderate, travel impacts across a large chunk of Texas up toward the Red River here into southern Oklahoma. That extends east-northeastward into the mid-Mississippi Valley region throughout the week as well, especially through today into Wednesday and even Thursday morning up toward places like Little Rock, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee here, and that extends farther up into central portions of Kentucky. So do be mindful of that. But where it is warm enough, we're going to have liquid rainfall. It's going to be falling as rain, and we could see heavy rainfall at that through the week. This is going all the way through Saturday, the 4th here of February. And wherever you see the maroon red shaded colors from East Texas, from near Tyler, Texas, eastward towards Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, and then on up into north central Alabama, into the Birmingham, Tuscaloosa area, and then farther east toward the Atlanta metro area into northern Georgia, we could be seeing at least a good swath of 1 to 3 inches of rain. Some isolated 4 and 5 inch rainfall amounts are definitely possible across these areas going through the end of the week. And that's why we do have the Weather Prediction Center forecasting slight risk for excessive rainfall and flash flooding, at least in scattered instances across East Texas and Northwest Louisiana here from Wednesday into Thursday. And then a more widespread zone of a slight risk for scattered flash flooding from Louisiana through central and southern Mississippi into central Alabama and northwestern Georgia on Thursday into Friday timeframe late this week. By the time we get into Friday, we'll say goodbye to the icing threat, but we'll still have some lingering rainfall across portions of the southeast into the coastal Carolinas here, down into southern Georgia and North Florida around the Jacksonville area, Tallahassee, Tampa Bay. Some of these areas will have some rainfall through Friday. But finally, as we get into Saturday, besides a couple of sprinkles and light showers on the eastern side of the Florida Panhandle or Peninsula here, we're going to be seeing a lot of quiet weather across the middle of the country, thankfully, by the time we get into this upcoming weekend on Saturday, February 4th. And we'll say goodbye to this ice threat. We're going to say goodbye to all the rainfall and breathe a sigh of relief by that time. But we also have to talk about the extreme cold, because we have another blast of cold air coming out of Canada, moving south and eastward in a big way across the northern, especially the northeast United States, going through this upcoming weekend. So this is tomorrow on February 1st. All that cold air starting to push southward into central Canada. But by the time we get into Friday, February 3rd, you can see that starts to make headway farther south into the upper Great Lakes and parts of interior New England on Friday, February 3rd. And then by the time we get into Saturday, this upcoming weekend on February 4th, that pivots its way across parts of the Northeast. In fact, you can see these are your low temperatures across the country and across southern Canada, waking up Saturday morning, February 4th. Very cold across the eastern 2/3 of the country, while the western 2/3 back here into the Great Plains, the Rockies, and out west will start to moderate our temperatures going into Saturday morning. But looking into the Northeast, this is going to be brutal as we head into Saturday morning. I do expect wind chill warnings because whenever you see low temperatures this cold of 25 to near 30 degrees below zero with low temperatures, you can almost bet you're going to see some real brutal wind chills. And we do see that across upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, getting up into Maine. And it's not a cakewalk either across Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, or really anywhere here in the Northeast. But the most brutal of the wind chills will be up here into portions of western Maine, northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York, and parts of Quebec, Canada, where we're seeing 40, 50, if not closing in on 60 degrees below zero Fahrenheit wind chills going into Saturday morning. So definitely bundle up out there if you do head outdoors. And we're only going to be able to muster the teens below zero for highs across Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York, and parts of Quebec Saturday afternoon for your high temperature. So it's not going to be warming up very much. In fact, your afternoon wind chills will still be near 40 degrees below zero, guys, up here into the Northeast, here into Maine, Quebec, and getting into portions of Vermont, New Hampshire as well. So very, very cold times ahead this upcoming weekend. Probably the coldest air you've seen all year, and actually probably the coldest air the United States has seen all winter long in that area. So going through after that time frame from Sunday here late this weekend into next week, we're going to see a pattern change. We're going to see above normal temperatures taking over the eastern 2/3 of the country. A couple of troughs starting to dig down across the Pacific Southwest here, bringing unsettled times as well. But yes, you see those temperature anomalies warming up across the eastern 2/3 of the country. We're a good 10 to 20 degrees above normal on Sunday, February 5th, and that really continues in a big way, surging all the way up through the Great Lakes and southeastern Canada with above average temperatures through early next week on Tuesday, February 7th. Looking at Sunday, February 5th, we start to surge the line of the 40s and 50s farther north across the Ohio Valley, the Missouri Valley here, and parts of the Mid-Atlantic. By the time we get into Monday, a lot more areas getting into the 50s out here across portions of the southern United States and the southeast. And then by the time we get into Tuesday early next week on February 7th, we have another weather system moving in. So we have the colder air moving in on the backside of the low pressure system with a strong cold front, bringing in some of those single digits to near zero high temperatures on Tuesday across the upper Midwest. But ahead of that system, temperatures will be surging up into the 50s, if not the 60s out here across the eastern 2/3 of the country. And you can see with that weather system out there into next week, we could be talking about well above average precipitation across especially the southern plains, getting into the Tennessee Valley, but really much of the lower 48, at least slightly above average with precipitation. And that is because we have that subtropical jet activated here across much of the southern United States and the eastern 2/3 of the United States going in towards early next week. And that is going to assure us the potential for at least a couple of low pressure systems moving through the center of the country and toward the East Coast going in towards early to middle portion of next week. And we could be spreading out some heavy rainfall. With the warmer temperatures out ahead of this system, we're not going to have a lot of cold air to work with this system when the precipitation does start flying around. So it looks like a lot of this will be falling as liquid precipitation, that rainfall out there across the eastern 2/3 of the country going into early next week. And again, more heavy rainfall down here into Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and a lot of these places into the Carolinas as well that have seen a lot of heavy rainfall. I do expect more heavy rainfall going into next week here with those low pressure systems. And looking at the snowfall potential next week, we really don't see that across the United States. I know we're really lacking for snowfall still across parts of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, and parts of the coastal New England regions from New York City to Boston, but we're really just not seeing that next week. A lot of the snowfall will be farther up north into Canada or across portions of the Pacific Northwest with the heavy mountain snow, with a couple systems there going through this weekend into early next week. So we're really just not seeing a lot of snow out across the eastern 2/3 of the country through next week. And also behind that system, we're still going to be seeing that southeast ridge, that stubborn southeastern ridge, still going to continue through at least February 13th with above average temperatures across most of the eastern seaboard. And again, those troughs will be digging down across the Pacific Southwest into the Four Corners region through the middle of February. And again, very active across the middle of the country But I do think that most of this will be falling in the form of rainfall through the middle of the month. We could have a couple snowstorms here and there, but I don't foresee big snows or anything like that through at least the first 10 to 13 days of February. I do think a lot of this will be falling as rainfall. But again, it is some good news, even if we do see rain, because of the middle of the country is desperate for rainfall, especially into Nebraska, western Kansas, getting into Oklahoma, and really even Texas as well, where we have the drought, and also out west here across the Pacific West Coast here, we're seeing a lot of drought as well. So hopefully we can see a lot of precipitation through next week to chip away at a lot of this drought across the middle of the country. That would definitely be some good news. So to recap my weather forecast for you guys, a crippling ice storm will continue through today all the way through Thursday morning here. A lot of heavy ice accumulations across the southern plains to the mid-Mississippi Valley and parts of the Ohio Valley regions, and then extreme cold blasts, especially across the northern and especially the northeastern United States this weekend. Very cold Saturday morning. Wind chills down to near 60 to below zero in parts of interior New England Saturday morning. And then the weather pattern through mid-February, the answer to the question is we're probably going to see a lot more warm air and a lot more rain rather than snow towards the early and middle portion of February across most of the United States. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. If you guys liked the video, press the thumbs up down below, the like button. Remember to jot down any comments, questions, and concerns. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, and a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next video.